Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me when I say this. Weakness is not what you feel, it's what you allow. It's not about muscles, money, or how loud you can shout. Weakness is seen in the moments you hesitate, when you let someone's opinion shake your confidence, when you let disrespect pass just to keep the peace. The moment you stop defending your boundaries, men see it. They see it when you keep quiet instead of speaking up. They see it when you seek their validation instead of standing on your own 2 feet. They see it when you let them mistreat you, because the moment you let it slide once, you've told them they can do it again. You want to know real strength? It's in your discipline. It's in your ability to say no. It's in the way you carry yourself, the way you walk into a room and command respect without saying a word. A weak person craves attention. A strong one builds respect. A weak person lets emotions control them. A strong one uses emotions as fuel. So when a man sizes you up, don't let him see weakness. Let him see a force. Let him see someone who knows their worth, speaks their truth, and demands respect. Not with words, but with presence. Because the moment you show them weakness, they won't just see it, they'll use it. If you don't speak up for yourself, you give others permission to walk all over you. Strength isn't about being the loudest person in the room. It's about standing firm when the moment calls for it. It's about knowing that your voice, your presence, and your boundaries matter. But when you choose silence in the face of disrespect, when you bite your tongue just to avoid confrontation, you're not keeping the peace. You're surrendering. And let me tell you something. People, especially men, can sense it. When you stay quiet, when you let things slide, when you allow someone to overstep without a response, that silence speaks louder than words. It tells them you're unsure. It tells them you lack confidence. It tells them you'd rather shrink than stand tall. And that, my friend, is what weakness looks like. This world isn't kind to the silent. It's built for those who know how to be heard. The problem is, many people think speaking up means being aggressive, being loud, or causing unnecessary drama. No, true strength is about presence. It's about a look, a posture, a tone of voice that says, I'm here, I know who I am, and I will not be disrespected. Let me ask you something. How many times have you let something slide thinking it was just a small thing? A comment, a joke, a dismissive tone, a moment of disrespect that you chose to ignore because you didn't want to seem too sensitive or too difficult? The first time you tell yourself it's not a big deal. The second time you hesitate again. By the third time you've set a pattern. You've shown them that your boundaries are flexible, that your respect is negotiable, that you will choose silence over self-respect. And guess what? They see it, they register it, and they will use it. Men and people in general test you. They want to see how much you will take, how much you will tolerate. And every time you allow something that disrespects you, you teach them exactly how to treat you. You teach them that your silence is a green light to continue. And once you give that permission, taking it back is twice as hard. But here's the thing. Strength isn't about responding to every little thing. It's not about fighting every battle. It's about making it clear that there is a line that will not be crossed. Some people have a presence so strong that they don't need to say much. You know exactly where they stand because they've set their tone from the beginning. They've shown, through their actions, their energy, their decisiveness, that they are not to be walked over. And that's what you need to build. You don't need to argue with everyone who disrespects you. You don't need to scream to be heard. But you do need to establish that when something doesn't sit right with you, you will address it. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be as simple as looking someone in the eye and saying, I don't appreciate that. As simple as asking, what did you mean by that, when someone makes an offhand comment? As simple as removing yourself from situations that don't respect your presence. Because here's what happens when you don't. You lose a little piece of yourself every time. You start questioning your own worth. You start convincing yourself that maybe you're overreacting, that maybe it's easier to just let it go. And before you know it, that silence isn't just something you do, it becomes who you are. You start shrinking without realizing it. You start hesitating when you should be standing tall, and I'll tell you what happens next. People stop respecting you. Not because you aren't worthy of respect, but because you didn't demand it. Not because you're not strong, but because you didn't show it. Strength isn't about being rude, It's not about being harsh. It's about self-respect. It's about knowing that your voice matters, that your presence matters, that what you allow today sets the tone for how people treat you tomorrow. So if you've been keeping quiet, if you've been letting things slide, if you've been swallowing your words instead of speaking them, understand this. You are not protecting yourself. You are weakening yourself. You are not avoiding conflict. You are inviting disrespect. And the longer you do it, the harder it becomes to undo. Speak when it's necessary. Hold your ground when it matters. Make it clear that you will not be overlooked, ignored, or mistreated. Because the moment you allow silence to be your response to disrespect, you have already lost. The moment you start looking for validation, you start losing control. It's like handing over the keys to your life and saying, "Tell me who I am. Tell me what I'm worth." And once you do that, you're no longer in charge. Somebody else is. Somebody else gets to decide if you're enough. Somebody else gets to dictate how you should feel about yourself. And that's weakness. Men see it, they recognize it instantly, because validation is not just about asking for approval. It's about energy. It's about the way you carry yourself, the way you second-guess your own decisions, the way your confidence wavers depending on how others react to you. It's in the way you change your opinions to fit the room. It's in the way you hesitate before speaking, waiting to see if what you're about to say will be accepted. And trust me, the moment a man senses that, he knows you're not standing on solid ground. Now, let's be clear. Wanting to be appreciated is human. We all like to be seen, heard, valued. But needing validation? That's different. That's a weakness that turns you into a puppet, moving and shifting based on the approval or disapproval of others. And men? They don't respect puppets. They play with them, they test them, they see just how far they can push, just how much they can control, just how easily they can make you doubt yourself. And the more you seek validation, the easier you are to manipulate. Think about it. If your confidence depends on someone telling you you're beautiful, what happens when they don't? If your worth depends on someone choosing you, if your self-position rises and falls based on the attention you receive, then you are never truly in control of it. Someone else is holding the strings, and you're just reacting. A strong person doesn't wait for validation. They walk into the room already knowing who they are. They don't need to be told they're valuable. They know it. They don't need approval to feel good about themselves. They decide to feel good because they put in the work to build their confidence from the inside out. And that kind of person, that's the kind of person who commands respect. That's the kind of person who can't be toyed with, who can't be shaken by an insult, who doesn't crumble when someone withholds attention. See, when you seek validation, you also give away your emotional power. If someone praises you, you feel high. If they criticize you, you feel low. And when a man realizes that his attention or approval dictates your mood, he knows he has control over you. He knows that by simply pulling back, by being distant, by making you question yourself, he can keep you chasing after him. Not because he's better, not because he's more valuable, but because you've allowed him to be the source of your confidence. But a person who doesn't need validation, a person who stands in their worth regardless, that's a person who can't be played with. That's a person who, when someone pulls away, doesn't chase, they choose. They choose whether or not they want to engage. They choose whether or not someone is worth their time. They choose because their value was never dependent on external approval in the first place. This is why you have to stop looking outside of yourself for confirmation. Stop waiting for someone to tell you that you're enough. Stop adjusting who you are just to be liked. Stop hesitating before you speak, afraid that your truth might not be accepted. You don't need permission to be confident. You don't need validation to be worthy. You need to decide, right now, that who you are is enough, whether someone sees it or not. Because the truth is, the people who truly matter, the people who truly respect you, are the ones who recognize strength. And strength is not found in seeking approval, it's found in knowing who you are, in standing firm even when no one claps for you, in trusting your voice even when others don't agree. So let them watch, let them test you, Let them see that you don't bend just because they withhold validation, because the second you stop seeking approval, the second you stop needing acceptance, is the second you become untouchable. The way you allow people to treat you is exactly how they will continue treating you. It's as simple as that. There's no mystery to it, no secret formula. It's not about what you deserve, it's about what you accept. And the moment you let disrespect slide even once, you send a clear message. This is okay. It might seem small at first, a comment that rubs you the wrong way, a joke at your expense, a dismissive tone, and you tell yourself it's not worth making a fuss over. You don't want to seem too sensitive, too dramatic, so you let it pass. But here's the problem. Disrespect is a test. It's never just about that one moment. It's about seeing how much you will tolerate. It's about seeing if you'll push back or if you'll just smile and let it happen. And when you don't push back, when you choose silence, you don't maintain peace, you lose power. Men notice this. They pay attention to what you let slide. They watch to see if you'll correct them, if you'll hold your ground, if you'll demand the respect you deserve. And if you don't, if you brush it off, they take note. They learn that you are someone who will put up with it. They learn that you are someone who values keeping the peace more than maintaining self-respect. And once they know that, the pattern is set. It starts small, but it never stays small. The joke turns into backhanded remarks. The dismissiveness turns into full-blown disregard. The little slights turn into open disrespect. And by the time you finally decide to say something, it's too late. You've trained them to see your silence as permission. That's the thing about allowing disrespect. It doesn't just affect that one situation. It shapes the way people see you moving forward. It defines the dynamic. And the longer you tolerate it, the harder it becomes to change. Because by then, they're comfortable. They've settled into treating you a certain way. And now, when you finally push back, they look at you like you're the one who changed, like you're suddenly making a big deal out of nothing, like you're the problem. But let's get one thing straight. Demanding respect isn't being difficult. Setting boundaries isn't being rude. Calling out mistreatment isn't being dramatic. It's necessary. Because people don't just respect those who are kind, agreeable, and understanding. They respect those who demand respect in return. And demanding respect doesn't mean yelling. It doesn't mean starting arguments. It doesn't mean fighting every battle. It means having a standard. It means establishing from the beginning that certain things will not be tolerated. It means correcting people immediately, not waiting until things get worse. It means walking away when someone refuses to treat you with the basic level of dignity you deserve. Some people think that letting things go makes them easy to be around, that if they just stay quiet, avoid conflict, keep the peace, people will like them more. And maybe they will. But liking and respecting are not the same thing. You can be liked and still not be valued. You can be agreeable and still not be taken seriously. And if people like you because you tolerate their disrespect, then that's not real respect, it's convenience. So the next time someone crosses a line, don't second guess yourself. Don't make excuses for them. Don't tell yourself it's not worth it. Because every time you do that, you're not just letting that one moment go, you're setting a precedent. You're teaching them exactly how they can treat you. And once that lesson is learned, it's hard to unteach. Stand your ground. Speak up the first time. Make it clear, without hesitation, that you will not be disrespected, because the moment you let it slide, you've already lost. Feeling deeply is not a weakness, but when your emotions dictate your actions, they become your downfall. Emotion is powerful. It fuels passion. It drives ambition. It makes you human. But if you let it control you, if you let it override logic, discipline, and self-respect, then you've handed over the reins of your life. And make no mistake, people notice. Men notice. And the moment they see that you're ruled by emotion instead of reason, they see an opportunity. Because emotions, when unchecked, make you predictable. They make you easy to manipulate. If someone knows that all they have to do is push the right button to get a reaction out of you, they have power over you. They can make you angry, make you insecure, make you doubt yourself, make you chase after them, just by playing with your emotions. And when a man sees that he can do that he can control your mood, your reactions, your decisions, he knows he has the upper hand. Think about it. Have you ever been in a situation where someone made you so upset that you lashed out, only to regret it later? Have you ever been so caught up in proving a point, in defending yourself, that you ended up saying or doing something that made things worse? That's what happens when emotion leads and logic follows. And the people who know how to take advantage of that, they will. Not because they're necessarily smarter or better, but because they recognize the pattern. They see the weakness. But here's the thing. Having emotions isn't the problem. It's how you manage them. Strength isn't about being cold or detached. It's not about suppressing how you feel. Strength is about control. It's about knowing when to react and when to stay silent. It's about choosing your battles. It's about understanding that your power lies in your ability to regulate your emotions, not in letting them run wild. Imagine walking into a room where someone tries to provoke you. Maybe they throw a subtle insult your way. Maybe they ignore you, hoping you'll notice and feel small. Maybe they test you just to see how easily they can get under your skin. If you react instantly, if you get flustered, defensive, upset, you've just confirmed that they have control over you. You've just confirmed that they have control over you. But if you remain unfazed, if you stay calm, composed, collected, now the power dynamic shifts. Now they don't know what you're thinking. Now they realize that they can't shake you so easily. And that makes you unpredictable. That makes you a challenge. That makes you someone who demands respect simply by the way you carry yourself. Because the truth is, emotional discipline is rare. Most people act on impulse. They react without thinking. They allow their feelings to dictate their behavior. And that's why the people who master emotional control stand out. They move differently. They don't engage in petty arguments. They don't waste time proving themselves to people who don't matter. They don't let someone's opinion of them dictate their own self-worth. And when a man sees that, when he sees that you're not easily rattled, that you don't fall apart over minor things, that you don't need external validation to feel good about yourself, he sees strength. He sees someone who is not to be played with. So, the next time you feel anger rising, pause. The next time insecurity creeps in, take a breath. The next time someone tests you, don't give them an easy win. Because real power is not in the reaction, it's in the restraint. And when you master that, when you learn to control your emotions instead of letting them control you, you become untouchable.